Now, first and foremost, both of these two drones do share a lot of similarities. They are both around that 250 gram mark. They both share a lot of the same features. But what really makes this comparison interesting is that the Lito X1 is half the price of the Mini 5 Pro. Does that price gap make any sense?
Okay, as always, let's start on the outside. Both these drones look and feel very similar. They are both small and lightweight drones, which makes them both very travel friendly and easy to carry around. My Lito X1 sits right below that 250 gram mark, while my Mini 5 Pro comes in at 253 grams. Now technically a drone needs to be under 250 grams to classify as a C0 drone, but the Mini 5 Pro is allowed to deviate by ±4 grams in the EU and still be classified as a C0 drone. Now on the outside there are some small differences, like the propeller system. The Mini 5 Pro uses a tool-less system where you twist and turn to install and uninstall the propellers, while the Lito X1 uses the same system as you see on the Mini 4 Pro, where the propellers are fastened with screws instead. Now for the design, I do overall like the design on both drones, but if I have to choose, I would say the Mini 5 Pro is a little more pleasing to the eye with the darker color and the more aggressive shape. Now for durability, I have crashed my Mini 5 Pro twice without it taking any damage, and I came pretty close to crashing my Lito X1 as well, but the damage itself has mostly everything to do with luck, the impact, the surface, the speed, and the height and the weight. Now since both drones weigh about the same and both are made out of plastic, one can assume they take an equal amount of damage if you were to crash. The Mini 5 Pro is equipped with a larger 1-inch sensor, while the Lito X1 comes with a smaller 1/1.3-inch sensor. Now this is a big deal, as a bigger sensor means overall better image quality, more dynamic range, and less noise in the shadows for nighttime flights like sunrise or sunsets. Now with that said, both drones do have great image quality in my opinion. Now both drones also feature a 24mm wide angle lens with the ability to use digital zoom. However, the Mini 5 Pro has a huge advantage here, as it has a 2x lossless zoom function, which basically means it will produce a much cleaner image at the 2x zoom. This makes a massive difference out there in the real world, as it basically adds a 48mm lens with minimal quality loss that lets you get much closer to subjects and gives you a much easier way to create the parallax effect, for example. You can of course use the 2x zoom on the Lito X1 as well, but the quality drop will be much worse. The Lito X1 does have a faster f1.7 aperture compared to the f1.8 aperture on the Mini 5 Pro, which means the Lito X1 technically lets in more light, but the Mini 5 Pro has the bigger sensor, so it still outperforms it for nighttime shots. The Mini 5 Pro also features a rotating gimbal that was originally introduced on the Mavic 4 Pro. This is an awesome feature that lets you rotate the gimbal 180 degrees to the right and 45 degrees to the left while recording. This feature alone stands out because it brings diversity to your shots, it lets you push your creative side, and the shots themselves will make you stand out from the rest of the normal standard drone shots that we are so used to. On top of that, the Mini 5 Pro also has true vertical shooting, which means you can shoot vertically using the full sensor for social media posting. The Lito X1 does not have a rotating gimbal and it does not have true vertical shooting. However, it does have a 2.7K crop mode that will give you a better vertical field of view rather than cropping from a 16:9 wide shot. Now there is also a bit of a difference with the gimbal tilt range as well. On the Mini 5 Pro, the controller tilt range is 55 degrees upwards, while the Lito X1 has a controllable tilt range of 40 degrees upwards. Now this means the Lito X1 is a bit more limited to capturing upward tilt shots. This is most noticeable when flying closer to your objects, like under trees or close to trees, to capture epic upward shots. Now for the video specs, they both can shoot 4K up to 4K 60 frames per second, but only the Mini 5 Pro can shoot in HLG. However, both does support 10-bit D-Log-M, which is fantastic, as this gives you the best dynamic range and the ability to color grade your footage to get the best image possible. And even though the Mini 5 Pro has the larger sensor with better dynamic range, I have worked with footage from both drones and I have gotten fantastic results with both. Now for slow motion, the Mini 5 Pro has the edge here as well and can shoot up to 4K 100 frames per second and 1080p 240 frames per second, while the Lito X1 comes in slightly lower with 4K 100 frames per second and 1080p 200 frames per second. Alright, moving over to photography, they pretty much have the same options. Both drones can also shoot in JPEG and RAW in either 12 or 48 megapixels, but again here, since the Mini 5 Pro has true vertical shooting using all of the sensor, it will produce vertical photos with a better field of view while preserving all the megapixels. Now for the photography features, there are some differences too. The first one is bracketing, where the Mini 5 Pro supports 7-shot brackets while the Lito X1 is limited to 5-shot brackets. Now both drones do have great pano options, but the Mini 5 Pro has an extra pano feature called Free Pano that lets you create your panorama manually choosing your own points. Now besides from this, they both share the same classical features you see in all the other DJI drones like waypoints, master shots, quick shots, hyperlapse, cruise control and tracking, which brings me over to the tracking because there are some differences here as well. Now they both share the same great ActiveTrack 360 that gives you full 360 tracking around your subject, but the Mini 5 Pro does have a couple of extra features optimized for bicycling and skiing. Now for the tracking speed, the Mini 5 Pro is a bit faster, giving you a max tracking speed of 15 meters a second, while the Lito X1 tops out at 12 meters a second. They both also have, of course, an obstacle avoidance system, with the Lito X1 having one fisheye vision sensor at the top and one at the bottom, including a front-facing LiDAR. The Mini 5 Pro uses 4 dedicated vision sensors, 2 at the front, 2 at the bottom, and also features a front-facing LiDAR. There is also a difference between the detection range. In daylight, the Mini 5 Pro detects obstacle up to 200 meters away, while the Lito X1 is optimized for up to 20 meters. Now, even though the software is basically the same, the way these drones behave is also a bit different. I have done a full ActiveTrack test comparing these two drones if you want to check it out, but the biggest takeaway I got from that test is that the Lito X1 is much more conservative or cautious in the tracking behavior. So in other words, it's less aggressive, which is great for peace of mind, but it also might mean that you will lose a shot that you personally feel the drone could have handled. The Mini 5 Pro, on the other hand, I found to take a much bigger risk getting you that shot, but this also likely leads to a higher chance of you crashing the Mini 5 Pro if you push it too far. Alright, so touching on some core performance features as well, both drones include 42 GB of internal storage, and the battery life with the standard battery is rated for up to 36 minutes on both of these drones, but realistically you will get around 25 minutes, which is what I got from my testing. You also do have the option to buy a plus battery for both drones that will last much longer, but keep in mind that these batteries will also put the drone way above that 250 gram mark. Now for max speed and wind resistance, they are pretty much the same, and for the max speed, the Mini 5 Pro does beat the X1 by 1 meters a second. The Mini 5 Pro also has its own auxiliary landing light at the bottom, which the Lito X1 lacks. Now for the noise, I found the Lito X1 to be a bit more quieter in flight, making less noise than the Mini 5 Pro. Now both drones also shares the same ease of use features, where the drone will auto power on when you unfold the arms. Both drones also features the dynamic home point, updating the return location to the pilot's current position rather than where you took off. Now for the range, it depends on what region you live in. The Lito X1 uses the 04 transmission, giving you a max range of 15 kilometers in FCC regions and 8 kilometers in CE regions. The Mini 5 Pro, however, does use the 04 Plus system, giving you 20 kilometers of range in FCC regions and 10 kilometers in CE regions, like here in Norway. Both drones are also compatible with the DJI RCN3 and the newer RC2, while the Mini 5 Pro is also fully compatible with the newer RC Pro 2. Okay, lastly we have the price, and here is the biggest difference between these two drones. The Mini 5 Pro comes in at 829 euros here in Norway, while the Lito X1 comes in at only 429 euros. That's half the price of the Mini 5 Pro.
Well, I think that well, obviously the Mini 5 Pro is the better drone out of these two drones. So the biggest differences between these two drones, as I see it, is the rotating gimbal, its true vertical shooting, the 1-inch sensor, and maybe the tracking system, depending on how you look at that. Are those things worth twice the price? That is the tough question of today. And personally, I don't think it is. I think it's worth more, but I don't think it's worth twice as much. Like you get two Lito X1 for the same price as you get for one Mini 5 Pro. And also, just to make one thing pretty clear, I'm not throwing the Mini 5 Pro under the bus. The Mini 5 Pro is the better drone, obviously, out of the two. But if you are somebody who's just starting out and you're in the market for a new drone and you're looking towards one of these, I'm gonna have a real hard time recommending the Mini 5 Pro over the Lito X1. If you are someone who's posting a lot on social media and you know that you shoot a lot of vertical content, maybe you should consider getting the Mini 5 Pro. But again, you get two Lito X1s for the same price as you get for one Mini 5 Pro. Alright guys, anyways, there you have it. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate it if you could smash a like on the video and drop a comment below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye safe.